Welcome to the Aspire Sports Show. I'm Tyler, your host, along with my co-host here. We got Kyle, Giggs, Ryan, and we're back, baby. We're back. We missed last week just because it's week 17. Not a whole lot of people were playing fantasy football. But today, we get the wild card round. I am so excited for the wild card round. We have so many good games this weekend. I'm very excited for it, and we're going to be giving you our FanDuel DraftKings picks for DFS plays. Also, some player prop bets that I think you could do as well, along with any other type of bets, say the over under, money lines, whatever the case may be, some parlays. So let's go ahead and first we're going to talk about some player news here. So it does not look like Alex Smith is going to play today. And so Taylor Heineke will be the starter. He was taking the first team reps in practice this week, according to I forget who the beat reporter was, but he was taking the first team reps. You have Mike Evans. Looks like he's going to attempt to play today. It looks like he will play. Antonio Gibson is likely to play. LaShawn McCoy has been ruled out. And then for the earlier games, Rock Sin, is that how you say his name? I don't know if that's how you actually say his
I
name.
think so.
He's out for this game. DeForest Buckner, I don't know, I haven't seen anything. He was questionable. Um, it looks like he's going to play, but if he doesn't, then I think I like Zach Moss. We'll kind of get into that a little bit. But Cole Beasley is questionable. Stephon Diggs questionable. Looks like they're going to play. Jared Goff, I don't know if he's going to play today or not. I know that they were kind of switching first team reps with him and Wolford. I think that's his name, right? John? I think his name's John. I could be wrong though. Yeah, John. So they were switching first team reps. So hopefully we'll have clarity before the game actually starts. And then Carlton Davis and Mike Evans. I already talked about Mike Evans questionable, and so is Terry McLaurin questionable. So I think that they play. All those guys play. Not sure about Jared Goff though. I haven't seen anything. He did break his thumb. I don't think he plays. I think Wolford plays, but we'll see what happens. So let's go ahead and talk about the first game here. Buffalo versus Indianapolis. Our highest scoring game on the slate, 51 total points. Number one, let's just start with this real quick. Do we think it's going to go over or under 51 points? What do you guys think? I'll kick it over to Gigs first. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can see this game going over. I know Indy's a good defense, but Buffalo's offense has been pretty amazing in the
Money.
second half. And I expect Josh Allen to throw the ball a lot. So I can see this being somewhat high scoring of a game. I know Buffalo's defense hasn't been the greatest this year. They're starting to get right here later. But they have like a shutdown corner and that's kind of like they do have a shutdown corner in White, and that's kind of what makes their defense so good is they can take your number one playmaker on the outside out of the game. But Phillip Rivers is someone who spreads the love around, and I actually don't think he's even going to throw the ball a lot today. I think they're going to really just focus on Jonathan Taylor, who's had over 725 rushing yards in the past 6 games. So I think they're going to have a hard time keeping him out of the end zone, and I expect just a ton of Jonathan Taylor today and sprinkle in some Nyheim Hines.
So, well, real quick, because we have Carlson. What's up, Carlson MP? How you guys doing? Lost my fantasy championship by 0.28 points. Oh man, that's a heartbreaker. This is my first year, so you'll get better next year. Well, not get better because if you're in the championship, that's already good as is. But you'll win it next year for sure. Washington wins. Let's see. MP says Washington wins, Titans win, Browns win, Rams win, Bills win, Saints wins. Hey, we'll see, MP. Someone take a screenshot of that. I want to see if he's right. I do think Washington has. I don't really like their chances now that Alex Smith is not playing. I didn't really like their chances that much to begin with, but maybe we'll see. So let's continue on with Jonathan Taylor, yes, and I expect Jonathan Taylor is probably going to be the high. I think he might be. Well, right now on RotoWire, I believe that he's projected to be the highest rostered player of the entire slate. I think it was like 75%. So you definitely think you got to take the chalk.
Absolutely. I think Jonathan Taylor's in line for at least 20 touches, probably about 100 or more total yards, and he should find the end zone. So with today's slate, I would say the safest running back would be Jonathan Taylor. If you were going to do today and tomorrow, I would probably consider Alvin Kamara over Jonathan Taylor, but right now JT's the guy.
I agree. I feel like it depends on how many lineups you're making, but I'd say like at least like 80% of my lineups, I'm gonna have exposure to him just because he's last week he played on 80% of the snaps. So he plays against or plays behind the best, in my opinion, the best run blocking offensive line in the league, and then has a pretty good match in Buffalo, who Buffalo's not that good up front. So I think that they can definitely win the matchup up front. And I think he's in line for a pretty good day. Now, if you want to be contrarian though, then you definitely need to fade Jonathan Taylor, which hey,
Yes.
sometimes that's how you win these kind of like when there's 3 games, sometimes you have to be contrarian. You have to pick the guys that fade these chalky plays and go with I'd say like who do you think? Like who's somebody else like a maybe Zach Moss. Now it depends if like I would say if DeForest Buckner's not playing today, then go. But even in that case, like you're gonna fade, so you might pivot and go like Zach Moss. But which one out of those two would you rather go, Moss or Singletary?
I think I'd go Moss, mostly because of goal line work. But if you're doing DK, I can understand why you'd go Singletary because you get a point per reception, and they kind of stopped throwing the ball to Zach Moss. I think they understand Singletary is the better receiving back. But I'm with you. If you want to go contrarian, take one of those running backs. If you want to be really contrarian, throw them both in your lineup. But if I had to pick one today, I'd probably go Singletary. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I'd probably go Zach Moss. Unless you're playing DK, I think it's a toss-up between the two.
I agree with you because I was looking at it and Zach Moss on the season has 11 carries inside the 5 yard line to Singletary's 6. So I mean, it's a pretty that's a pretty big difference between the two. So definitely Zach Moss is, and especially because you have to consider because Zach Moss missed some games. So um, Zach Moss is definitely their preferred goal line back, and I'd imagine right now they have a team implied total of 29 points, so they should definitely be around that area a decent amount, and Zach Moss could definitely get in the end zone. So. How about Philip Rivers? Well, real quick here. You think the Browns will beat the Steelers? I don't think the Browns will beat the Steelers. I think if Stefanski was coaching today and they didn't have some players out, or well tomorrow, I think that they'd have a chance. But with that, I don't see them beating the Steelers. But we'll see. Um, how do you feel about Philip Rivers? Any interest in him if you're making any lineups or no? Anybody, Ryan, if you want to chime in or if you have something else or gigs, keep going.
I mean, I I said earlier on the show, I don't think he's going to throw a lot today. Um, I can see his weapons being taken away because of Tre'Davious. Like Buffalo's secondary is probably better than its rush defense. So I'm
Definitely.
going to go Philip Rivers under 20 completions. I really don't know if he's going to have to throw the
So
ball a lot in this game. So
no
um,
exposure to him, probably.
I mean, it's all about how many lineups you're making. But if you're going GPP, I think the best option on today's slate is Tom Brady. I, he's got all the weapons, and Washington. I mean, they're tough to run against, so I can see them just sticking to the pass. Like I love stacking like a Brady with Gronk or Brady with Antonio Brown right now. Um, Russell Wilson at 7,400 looks pretty good too. So if I was going to go that route, I'd probably pick one of those two quarterbacks. That's probably where I'm going to play it safe. And if you're going to go contrarian, I I'm not big on Rivers. I think I'd go Heineke before I'd go Rivers.
Yeah. I feel like Rivers honestly is one of my least. I don't have any exposure to him. He's been averaging 15 fantasy points on the season, so I mean, I don't expect that to really change today. He'll probably be right around it, maybe gets like 17, but I'd rather play like anybody else. I'd even play if Goff isn't playing, I'd rather play Wolford, whatever his name is, than him. So I don't have any interest in Rivers here. Um, let's go to the receivers then. So we have Stephon Diggs. I mean, probably right now RotoWire has him projected to be the second highest played player on the slate on this entire slate. So, I mean, definitely if you want to be contrarian, right? Um, Fade him. I will say this. Indianapolis did something last week for the first time they did all season, and that's shadow wide receivers. So does that happen today? Do you have a matchup with Xavier Rhodes shadowing Stephon Diggs? I still think Stephon Diggs will have a fine game if that happens, but it is going to be interesting and something to watch for. They haven't done that all season besides last week. Maybe they're waiting to do it and we're going to do it in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens, but you feel pretty good about Stephon Diggs today, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I'm very big on Diggs, but I know Ryan's big on someone on Buffalo that I'm also liking right now at the wide receiver position, and that'd be John Brown. Ain't that
You
right,
guys want me to
Ryan?
try to talk? Yeah, I like John
Yeah.
Brown, but I'm going to be delayed.
That's right,
Yeah.
Ryan having the connection issues, but yeah, Ryan and I were talking. Well, he said in the group chat, John Brown's sitting at 5,700. I think that's a smash play for GPP. I can see Stephon Diggs coming in at like 35 to 50% owned today. So yeah, if you want to be contrarian, if you don't want to have the chalk, Jonathan Taylor, Diggs, those are going to be guys everyone's playing today. But if you don't play those guys, you're going to have a hard time spending all your salary. So if you're someone who can't stand seeing 3,000, 4,000 bucks left over, you're probably going to want both of them in your lineup. So I think Diggs is safe. I think John Brown has more upside than Diggs in this matchup.
I do like John Brown a lot. I mean, on FanDuel, yeah, he's so cheap. I'm on both of them. He's really cheap. So, what about Cole Beasley? Any interest in Cole Beasley?
Yeah, we even have the comment. I thought you were going to mention the best slot receiver in the game, Cole Beasley. I think he'll have a decent game. He wouldn't play unless he's definitely ready to go. I understand it's the playoffs, so some guys are going to try to go through play through injury. But with
Like
Cole
Mike Evans.
Beasley, you understand that it's for him. If he doesn't have his quickness, if he doesn't have his feet, the guy's not going to be able to kill. So I
Right.
think he'd be ready to go, and that's why they deploy him. So Cole Beasley, just because he is coming off being injured, and I think John Brown is like more of the sneaky play right now. Like I could see Beasley still being a little chalky. I think John Brown will be less owned, and I can see John Brown having a bigger game. I just kind of like his matchup against the Colts secondary more than Cole Beasley.
No, I agree, and he will probably John Brown. So it just depends on what Indianapolis is going to do. Say they do shadow, John Brown will get TJ Carey. TJ Carey, that's definitely a beatable matchup for John Brown. So I mean, say they do that, right? Then definitely John Brown is going to be the play. So we'll see what happens. They could totally go back and just have the quarterback stay on the one side of the field. So we'll see. But what about on the Colts side of the ball? T.Y. Hilton. I will say this. I'm going to say this before you go ahead. If there's a wide receiver that I'm going to play from, because I think Ty is probably going to see shadow coverage from White. Tre'Davious White has been playing wide receivers on the outside, and that's really where T.Y. Hilton has been lining up. So I feel like he'll probably get the shadow coverage if somebody gets shadow coverage from White. So if he does, then my the player that I like is Zach Pascal in the slot, where he's going to play Teron Johnson. And Teron Johnson, he's had some good games this season, but overall he hasn't been very good. So I think Zach Pascal in the slot. If you want to play a wide receiver in this game from the Colts side, I feel like Zach Pascal, in my opinion, is the better play. And especially in DraftKings, he's 3.7 thousand or 3,700, whatever you want to say. So 3,700. So I think he's pretty good play, and I definitely think he'll return value for you. What about you?
No, he's definitely the best play at wide receiver on DK in my opinion. I like the price tag. He's been hot this second half of the season. He closed out strong, and I know Phillip Rivers spreads the love around, but like you said, if we're gonna have T.Y. Hilton with shadow coverage and maybe Doc like 1, 2, 3 pass attempts going his way, that's going to be spread somewhere else. So maybe Pascal gets a couple more looks this game than he normally would, and he's just been hot lately. So I think he's got Phillip Rivers' trust, and at his price tag, I think he looks real good. Him and Cole Beasley are both the guys I'm sorry, not Cole Beasley, John Brown. Those are the guys I'm throwing in my flex spot right now in my FanDuel lineups. My wide receivers right now, I'm running Diggs. I'm running guy for Seattle,
More?
DK Metcalf. I know
Oh,
it's
DK.
hey, I know Ramsey, but I'm going DK. And then I'll either have Antonio Brown, Evans, one of those two, and then I have John Brown or Pascal. So I don't have any Cole Beasley right now. I don't have any T.Y. Hilton. If I'm taking someone from the Colts, it's Jonathan Taylor and Pascal. I think those are the two best options right now.
How is Cole? He's all pro. Cole Beasley's all pro.
He did make it this year.
What? He made it all pro? The fuck? Are you
That's what
kidding me?
happens. That's what happens when the
Chris
Collinsworth
Collinsworth?
slide. Yeah, he comes in with the slide in
Oh
and just
my
starts
god.
talking all that good stuff about Cole Beasley. Which players are they? I mean, Darius Leonard's definitely there. Quentin Nelson, definitely. Buckner had a fantastic season.
Who else is it? Xavier Rhodes?
Quentin Nelson has to be one of them.
I gotta look this up real quick because I mean, my gosh, you have
Jonathan Taylor, is he one? Quentin Nelson, he's the
what is he,
best in the league.
second team?
Quentin Nelson's the best offensive lineman in the NFL right now.
I don't remember, but yeah, I guess so. He's second team All Pro. Cole Beasley still. I mean, second team All Pro. Come on, man. That's crazy. Ugh. Anyways, all right. All right. So I agree with that. Yeah. So let's go ahead and so yes, Zach Pascal. No interest in Michael Pittman, right? Did you say him?
No, I mean, again, if you're doing GPP, that's not a bad guy to throw in there. You're trying to be different from everyone else, but for me,
I'd imagine he'd be like really low owned. Nobody
yeah,
will have him.
I think he's priced a little too high.
I agree.
He's not too pricey, but just for his recent production, it makes no sense to go his way and spend that amount of money unless you're very bullish on him in this game and you're hoping no one else plays him.
Yeah, I agree. I don't. You shouldn't have any interest, and if he does well, I mean, so what? But like you said, his recent production and his price tag right now, what is his price tag? He's 5,100 on FanDuel and 3,500 on DraftKings. So it's not like super expensive, but I'd rather take Pascal in that range. Like he's been more productive than Pittman. So, yeah. Any interest in any of the tight ends in this game?
Oh God.
I don't have any interest. I mean, if you're gonna throw a dart play, I'd rather like just stick to the other games for tight ends. Like for this game, if you're gonna throw a dart play, like it'd probably be like Trey Burton, or Jack Doyle, but I don't feel good about either one of them. So I wouldn't play any tight end in this game. I honestly, even if you want to be different, I still wouldn't. I would just go elsewhere personally. How do you feel?
Yeah, if you're doing tomorrow's slate with today's slate, I would not touch a tight end on today's slate. If you're just doing today,
Definitely.
I think you really got to lean on Logan Thomas. If you want to go Trey Burton or Mo Alley Cox, go ahead, but that's a complete roll of the dice. They have 3 tight ends they use in Indy, so it's just it's a mess today at tight end. If you're trying to pick from just on this slate. So like I'm really going to focus on Gronk, Thomas. Thomas is a little expensive, but I'm expecting him to throw the ball a lot. So I think Thomas is fine, Gronk. And if you want to take a flyer on a tight end in this game, the first game, it would be Knox. I don't think I would go with anyone from Indy because it's too unreliable.
Agreed. I wouldn't even try not to take a flyer, guys, on this game. Like I would just stay on the late game. Like that's where I'd take the flyer. Like, and if you want to take a flyer, I'd rather take a flyer and say like Higbee, rather than these guys or even Everett. But like I wouldn't go with any of these guys. I would just stick with the later game today.
I will say this though, if you do pick it right, if there's a guy for Indy who's like, if Trey Burton runs and catches one, Like you're going to be one of the only people with Trey Burton. So
Right.
if you're really like only GPP, no cash lineups would I be using any Indianapolis tight end or Dawson Knox. But if you're doing GPP, 900,000 entries, go ahead, do something crazy. But I wouldn't. I
Right
wouldn't
now they're
suggest it.
projecting Dawson Knox to have a near 20% ownership.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. I don't like the matchup. I don't like tight ends against the Colts. Their linebackers are great. And I understand coming in, Cole Beasley had a Q tag. I mean, Diggs had a Q tag. We didn't know how healthy this Buffalo offense was going to be or how many guys are going to be able to be out there catching balls. So
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
But still, for me, at the end of the day, the matchup for tight end is so bad in this game that I would imagine
Right.
that they're going to rely on wide receivers before tight ends. But you need all of those to hit. What is the overs for it? I mean, no. I'm saying like, what do they have? What do they have to hit? Like, I know it's over rushing yards, but like, give me their. Oh, that's moved a lot. That was 15.5 last night. Yeah, that's real dumb. We'll help people not make those dumb bets.
So, any interest in the defenses on this game? I mean, if you're
No.
gonna play one, me personally, if you're going to play one, like what I like to do is I like to just pay down for defense, right? I'll play like the cheapest defense. I do have some interest in Tampa Bay's though a little bit. Now that the quarterback situation's iffy, but the Colts on DraftKings right now are 2,200. So it's like that's super cheap for a defense that, yes, I think that Buffalo wins, but I do think that they can get to uh Josh Allen a couple times. Maybe cause a turnover, right? Like I 2,200, that's super cheap. And then you can get your studs in, like really fill out your lineup with 2,200 with one of the league's best defenses too. So I think they're pretty cheap. If I'm going to be on DraftKings, I would definitely pick them for that price.
Yeah, if you're doing today or tomorrow's slate, so I don't normally say this. I usually hate defense, but I think I think we're being spoiled here because Seattle is the cheapest defense on FanDuel and DraftKings, and I think they're the best play because Seattle's looked really, really good the past 3-4 weeks, that defense. So I know we were making fun of them for being Swiss cheese and giving up all these passing yards early in the year, but they really tightened that up, and they've been stopping the run ever since Snacks came back. So you got Snacks back, you got Jamal Adams back, and now it's a whole new defense. They've looked real good. They're going against a LA Rams team who I know McVay is supposed to be some offensive guru, but seems like he was a one-trick pony, and everyone's got him figured out, and it doesn't matter what he does this year. They just can't get it going. So banged up Goff. The offense seems to be figured out. I really like Seattle on this slate. I think they're the best value defense.
I definitely like them. Like you said, well, they're the cheapest defense on FanDuel. On DraftKings, it's the Colts, but
Oh,
I I do like
2003. I thought you said 2. Yeah. Oh my, 2,300.
yeah on DraftKings, they're 2,200 on DraftKings. So they're, but I agree with you in Seattle. Definitely 100% on DraftKings or on FanDuel. I'm definitely taking Seattle as my defense because, like you said, and because you have Goff who's banged up. Cam Akers, like to me, I'm definitely not playing him today because number one, he has a high ankle sprain. He came back last week. He does not look healthy. So they're going to force him out there, and he's not going to do much today. And I just don't expect this offense to do much. And that's why me personally, I honestly like Russell Wilson. He's my favorite quarterback because I like to be contrarian, and also like I feel like a lot of people look at the matchup and say, "Oh, this is a terrible matchup," which it is. But I don't expect this offense to do much. So I expect it to kind of be like a Pittsburgh situation where the Steelers don't move the ball and the defense is gassed. And I feel like this is what's going to happen to the Rams. They're going to get gassed. I don't expect them to move the ball efficiently. So I think that the Seattle's offense is going to be better because of that reason.
And I would agree with you. I think Russell Wilson at 7,400 on FanDuel looks like the best quarterback to play. I'm bullish on Tom Brady, but if I had to pick the best, who's going to hit value, who's just going to be the best price, I'm going to say it's going to be Russell Wilson, because at 7,400, all he has to hit is 21, 22 points, which is his season average,
Right.
and that's 3x. So I think he's by far one of the best plays, especially on FanDuel. I have to check him on DraftKings.
On DraftKings, I'm pretty sure let me just double check because I have. Well, let's just go to that game because we're basically done with this game. So we'll just start off with Russ. Russ is 6,600 on DK. So he is the second highest, or no, he's the third highest behind obviously Josh Allen, Tom Brady. And he's only 600 more than Jared Goff. So I mean, me personally, I like him a lot. He's my favorite quarterback play. I mean, obviously you have Josh Allen. Josh Allen is, but he's going to be the highest owned. He's the most expensive. So I think, like you said, Russ is going to return value. Last time they played, he scored 21 points. So I definitely think it's doable, especially with the Rams all like the offense banged up. I think that bodes even better for this offense to do more. So I really and then you just have a bunch of stacking options with him as well. Me personally, I like Tyler Lockett a little bit more than DK, but you could go either one, and I feel like it's fine. And you could even, I think Chris Carson last time they played had 70 yards rushing as well. So I think there's some interest there if you want to go him. But I do think I have the only concern I have with this game right now is 42 point total, right? That's not good. That's not good compared to the other games. I mean, you have the Buffalo one right now, 51, but 42 points, that's not many points. So definitely going to be at least Vegas thinks so, a low scoring game, um, which doesn't bode well for the players in this game. But I do think Russ, in my opinion, is the best value play, like you said, at the quarterback position. So what about let's talk about Wolford though, real quick. Is there any interest, say Jared Goff is out, is there any interest for him in this game?
I have zero
Do you?
interest in playing him again. I think Seattle's defense has turned a corner. They're not what they were the first half of the season when everyone was making fun of them. I think they're a legit defense. I don't think you can throw this guy in here in his first playoff game. I don't care how many reps he got with the team. I don't care that he played the last game of the season. I think Seattle comes out here and punches the Rams in the mouth real early, and I don't see them clicking on offense. So I will have no shares of anybody on the Rams offense today.
If there is one, who would be the one?
Higbee, because I think the tight end position has been a headache.
Gross.
And then possibly if you want, so I'm playing a lot of Metcalf, and I can see maybe Ramsey giving him fits. So maybe play a Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods, because I do expect them to play from behind, so they'll be passing more.
I agree. I think I would go. I personally go Cooper Kupp just because he's not as expensive as Robert Woods. So if you want to play one, if you want to have some exposure to the other side, I would go Cooper Kupp just because he's cheaper. But that's the only reason. So I would rather go Heineke than Wolford.
Right.
So yeah, and he's cheaper. So like, why not? I would just play him if you're going to pay down for quarterback, which I wouldn't do. I'd stick with the top three guys. But if you want to pay down for quarterback and be able to get more studs in your lineup, then I would go Heineke would be my first option here. Over Wolford, Rivers, I would go him. So what about Chris Carson? Interest in Chris Carson today?
Chat.
Chat? Oh, chat real quick. I think Lamar goes off and beats Titans by 10 plus. Could definitely happen. That's probably the game that I'm looking forward to the most is going to be that Ravens Titans game. I'm really excited about that game because typically playoff games are like low scoring. It's kind of a defensive battle where that one I think is going to put up a ton of points in that game. So I'm really excited to see that game. I'm also excited to see the Buffalo game today because I think Buffalo has a good shot at beating Kansas City, but I do think that they have like, in my opinion, the toughest game today um against the Colts. I feel like the Colts are kind of a team that can beat Buffalo, like control the clock with the run game. Their defense is good. They can slow down Josh Allen a little bit. So I'm excited about this game. Like I said, there's so many good games on. This is such a good weekend. I'm so
I
excited.
was thinking about it. If I'm any team on the other side of the playoff schedule in the AFC, I'm excited because whatever team wins for the Bills and Chiefs, they're going to be tired after that game, especially the Bills if they win that game because they played two tough teams. They play the Colts and then they'll have to play the Chiefs, which will be two really hard games, and that should make them an easier opponent. They won't be easy, but they'll be tired. So I think whoever's on that side is looking forward to playing either of those two teams after that
Definitely will
game.
be tired, but I'll say this: if there's anything that's going to get you jazzed up and make you think you can win it this year, would be the gauntlet that the Colts or Bills have to go through. I think whoever
Yeah.
wins this game, if they take down the Chiefs, they're going to be on cloud nine. So I
Yeah.
would
Right.
I would agree. After two straight games, you're going to be gassed, especially because one of them has to play a team that had a
Right.
break. But I'm actually whoever wins out of these three teams, Colts, Bills, Chiefs, like whoever comes out, I honestly am favored to win the Super Bowl right now.
Especially if the Bills like just blow both teams out like they have been doing to teams, then it's just like how do you even stop them?
Bills look really
Honestly.
good.
They
They look
do.
really good. And I will say, who do you think is the least likely to win today or this weekend? Who do you think's the least likely to win out of all the
Washington.
games? I feel like the Bears. I feel like the
Oh, that
Bears
or
are
the
the least
Bears,
likely.
yeah, too.
I don't imagine the Bears winning. Like I can't see them winning the game. Like maybe they do, but I don't know. Do you guys feel like they have a shot?
If they were playing the Bucks and Nick Foles is playing.
I'm going to say I don't think Washington wins, and the reason I'm going to say that is because without your starting quarterback, it's a whole new. I don't care if this guy's looked better than Alex Smith in practice or whatever. Like you're not ready for this moment. Like it's like the Mike Tyson quote where everyone's got a game plan until you get punched in the mouth. I mean, they're coming into this game. They're riding a high. No, everyone counted them out. They were underdogs all season. The Rivera story, the Alex Smith story. It's good. It's wonderful for PR and it's a feel good story. But at the end of the day, everyone wants to talk about how the Ravens are so hot in the AFC. Well, the Bucks have looked really good as of late in the NFC. They have literally been tearing opponents apart, and I expect Washington. They're going to be on the field a lot, kind of like we were saying with the Rams against Seattle. I don't think they're going to be able to move the ball on offense, so that defense is going to be tired. And everyone underestimates how good of playmakers Tom Brady has at his fingertips. They got 5, 6, 7 games now under their belt with Antonio Brown being in there. Mike Evans and Godwin have been banged up just about the whole year. You're finally getting Cameron Brate back. I mean, their weapons are amazing. I don't see how the Redskins are, or I'm sorry, the Washington football team
Whoa.
Wow,
is
come
going to slow them
on.
down. I know it's 2021. I couldn't even leave it in 2020. What the hell's wrong with me? I just don't see it, guys. I don't see the Washington football team winning this game. And with the way
TBH,
the line's moving, I think I'm going Tampa.
TBH, I don't think Browns have a chance. Might be close, but I think Steelers will be up and dominant the whole game.
Oh well, if we're talking
I
tomorrow's
didn't.
games
I
too. I
didn't.
mean,
That was Uzi in the chat. I didn't. That wasn't me
I
like
think
saying that.
I agree a little bit. I think if like honestly if Stefan and they're missing, aren't they missing
Right.
Baton?
Yeah, and
Isn't he out
Batonio
too?
too, and Olivier Vernon's out. Like, I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's a for
I mean
sure
the
thing
Steelers
for
have players.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Right, it's not a for sure thing at all, and I'm not going to give my prediction whatsoever till maybe tomorrow. But like, the Steelers could lose this game for sure, the way that they've been playing the last 6 weeks. But Do they show up and they've been running off of what they've been doing the last 2 weeks? Maybe, but
Steelers going to the Super Bowl. Come on.
I just
All
don't.
right,
The Chiefs and
let's
Bills are
finish
too scary for me to give for
the
anybody
Yeah.
else to
I
predict
hope it's the
anybody else
well.
between those
Yeah,
two.
because it'll be if the Chiefs win. Yeah, the Chiefs and Bills. That would be a really good conference championship. I hope. I hope that's how it works out.
Well,
I hope.
don't they automatically play each other? Or so I don't
No, they'll
understand the
play the lowest
brackets.
seed. No,
Exactly.
there's
These
no
brackets
bracket.
look stupid. They're confusing people. They're like it looks like it's saying whoever wins the Colts versus Bills plays the Chiefs, but that's not how it'll work. Like if the
Yeah,
Bills win, they're
I
not going
don't.
to.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I'm pretty sure how the NFL works is like the Chiefs will play the lowest seed no
Yeah,
matter what
coming out
happens.
of this. So if the Colts
Yeah,
win, they'll play the Colts.
yeah. So,
Unless
um,
the Colts are they're the last seed, right? In the
are
AFC.
they the last seed? They
I'm
might be
pretty
the
sure.
last seed.
Yeah.
I think
Who?
Josh Allen about to struggle. Could definitely. Ryan, what's your favorite player props? Yeah, go ahead, Ryan. And while Ryan's typing that out, Gigs, why don't we just talk about the last game here? The Washington football team versus Tampa Bay. So right now we have a 45.5 over under, 26 implied total for Tampa Bay and 18.5 for Washington, which I think is a little generous. 18.5 points. Ah, boy, I don't like this offense really. I do agree with you. It's between Washington right now. I felt decent about Washington, but after like Alex Smith being out, I feel like that's kind of like a gut punch as well. Like this is your leader. This is somebody who came back after a serious injury, was playing okay. Like he wasn't playing that good, but was at least playing okay in this crappy division, won the division, right? So I feel like it's kind of demoralizing a little bit. And you have Antonio Gibson. I'm pretty sure he has turf toe. I feel like that's what's going on with him. He has a toe injury. And then you have McLaurin who's injured as well, who's banged up. So you have your playmakers hurt. So I don't feel too good about Washington winning today as well. But you said you like Tom Brady. So you think Tom Brady has a chance to be the highest scoring quarterback on the slate?
So I wouldn't be surprised if they run up the score on Washington if they're beating them good. I think Tom Brady's on a mission. I think he's here to he's here to prove all of his doubters wrong. You got Antonio Brown coming along, who's like, yeah, let's win a championship. I mean, Gronk came out of retirement going, yeah, let's win a Super Bowl. You got LaShawn McCoy there too. Like, there's all these guys who would love to win it. I just think the locker room, your leader, everything, all the lines are. Everything's aligned. Like all the stars are aligned. Here comes the Bucks. They're my favorite team in the NFC right now. I think they take care of business today. And because Washington has a very good rush defense, that's why I'm kind of pivoting off Ronald Jones and saying, all right, if the Bucks are going to take down the Washington football team, I almost did it again. If they're going to take them down, how are they going to do it? I think it's going to be through the air because you can't cover Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, and Godwin. Those are all number one receivers for teams. They just so happen to have them all on one team. So I just think Tom Brady has a field day today. And I wouldn't be surprised if he is very low scoring too, because if they somehow give it to Ronald Jones and he gets cooking, if they're always up on the game, why would they have to pass? So game flow is the only concern for me. If they need to win, if Tom Brady has to get points, he's going to get points. So I like Tom Brady here. I know he's more expensive than Russell Wilson, but I like the stacking options.
No, I agree. I agree with you. One thing that I will say is that if they do have a shot, their defense is pretty good, Washington, and with Mike Evans, because I don't think he's anywhere near 100%. Like I know a lot of guys are not near 100%, but I last week like the fantasy doc and football doc both said that he had a hyperextended knee, and man, I just don't think I don't think he's going to be very effective today. I'd be surprised if he's effective. But I just think that's going to definitely hurt this offense potential. But I do think that they'll win. And I do think, like you said, Tom Brady's on a mission. He's on a mission. And the first person he's trying to prove wrong is Bill Belichick. He's like, hey, yo, Bill, look at me. I can win without you. You can't even make the playoffs, Bill, but I can win. I think that's his public enemy number one is Bill Belichick, and he's trying to prove him wrong. So I do agree with you. How about and we kind of talked about Taylor Heineke. So I would make some lineups with him. It depends on how many lineups you're making, but I feel like if you're say you're making 10 lineups, I'd have 2 lineups with him as like my quarterback personally, and then mix in whoever else you want. I mean, like Jonathan Taylor, because you can definitely pay up for studs. If you're gonna have Taylor Heineke and you want to make it really weird, try to have like I'd say like $500,000 left over as well. Like if you want to talk about a lineup that can take down like GPP, right? That's a lineup right there that can take it down. So you want to have something like that. I feel like make one lineup if you're making 10, but I would make one lineup just like that. But there's a little bit of interest, not a whole lot. How about let's go to the running back. So who would you prefer on the Washington side, McKissick or Gibson?
Oh, I'm going Gibson in this one. I think they're going to give him the ball a lot, and I do like his price. I know Tampa Bay is a tough rush defense, but I think you got to go with Gibson. And I think MP would agree with me. You know, Gibson's a beast. He's one of the best rookie running backs. People kind of forget about him because he's on Washington, but he's a damn good back, and they're going to give him the ball here. So I like Gibson at 6,400 on FanDuel. I need to look up his DK price. But you asked me about Chris Carson earlier. I didn't answer on that. And okay,
ahead.
Chris Carson is $200 more than Gibson. I think they're both fine plays. I think they have around the same value. But actually, I don't know. I think it's a coin flip between both of them. I think they look real good on DK, both of them. You want exposure. If you're going to play 2 running backs on DK, play both of those guys. Or swap one out for Jonathan Taylor. But I think they have the best chance of hitting value.
Agreed. Yeah, and I kind of just left that game because there's not. I mean, the Seattle game, there's not a whole lot to talk about. You got the receivers, quarterbacks. No interest in Cam Akers, right? Do you have any interest?
And the only reason I brought that up is because I had it highlighted.
Chris Carson?
Yeah, and he was right next to Gibson. So I did want to bring up, like, because I do like Chris Carson for DK. I do want people to know. I know they're going against the Rams, but I do think it's a good play. 5,900 is great.
No, agreed. And I feel like he's not. I mean, he's going to definitely be higher owned, but he's going to probably be, I'd say, maybe third. You're definitely gonna have Jonathan Taylor, so I feel like he's gonna be a decent play. Definitely no interest in the rest of that game though. And then in this game, so who would you prefer at the wide receiver spot for? Like me personally for Tampa Bay, I think I'm gonna just go AB. In my opinion, is gonna be who I'm probably gonna lean towards, just because I don't think Mike Evans is 100%. I don't think he's anywhere near it. So I think Antonio Brown on the outside. I could see Chris Godwin too, because I think that Washington in the slot, like honestly, I could even roll out like Chris Godwin and AB. In my opinion, I'd feel okay about that. I least interest in Mike Evans just because he's banged up. But how do you feel about the receivers?
No, I agree with you. Right now, it's saying that Mike Evans is a projected 11.7% owned for FanDuel. So I'll check that for DraftKings too. But for me, I'm with you. If you're looking to have exposure to the Bucs offense and you want one of the passing options, I think you go AB over Godwin. He's cheaper and he's put up just about the same production the last couple of weeks of the season. They're finally clicking, and I'm very big on AB. Very big on AB. He's coming in at 16.2% ownership. To put things in perspective, we have Robert Woods at 24%, Terry McLaurin at 25%, Ty at 27.5%, and Diggs at 60%. So for how little people are going to own him, I think Brown is probably the best stack with Tom Brady right now.
Agreed, and especially on DK because he's in the games that he didn't have like big yardage. Like prior to the past couple of weeks, he was catching a decent amount of balls. So, and even when he's had these, better games the past couple of weeks, he's catching, I think last week he caught 11 balls. So especially when you're getting that full point on DK, I definitely would go AB. He would be my number 1 receiver on the slate. And then how do you feel about, like you said something earlier about Brait. Do you like him at any exposure or would you just go Gronk?
I would go Gronk. Tight end's a position I don't try to get too cute with because, I mean, you can pick a guy who's like minimum salary who only gets 2 points, and someone could pick someone who's like middle of the pack who only gets like 2-3 points. So I understand why people like to treat it like a punt, but I like to treat it as the that's my opportunity to get a leg up on somebody. So for tight end, I'll be paying up for Logan Thomas and Gronk today. So I
Definitely
don't
tight
think I'll
ends in
be.
this game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick one of those guys because, yeah, like we talked about earlier, if you want to be different, you gotta hit the one because I feel like these guys have a decent floor. Like the tight end just for this slate is not very good in general. Like this is not a good slate. So, but these guys have at least a decent floor. With Gronk, you're gonna probably get like a couple of catches, and he could do like what he did the past. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, 2 catches, 2 touchdowns, like 2 30-yard touchdowns, right? So I just feel like he's okay. Definitely Logan Thomas is the guy though I would want to have just because they should be playing from behind. I think what are they like 8-point underdogs or 6-point underdogs or something? I
Yeah,
forget
it's
what they
moving
were.
quick. I think
Is
it's at
it
like 8 or 9 now.
9? Yeah, 9 now. So definitely should be throwing the ball, and Logan Thomas I feel like has the safest floor. So if you just want to be different, like roll the dice on someone, I mean, go for it. But I think Logan Thomas is just the guy, and he'll be the highest. He'll be the highest owned, but that's okay, right? Because you're gonna have the best tight end, I think, on the slate. So that's totally fine. Just it's a chalk play. Eat the chalk. Lose the chalk elsewhere. Like the quarterback position, I feel like is okay. And the running back position, if you like Gig said, if you want to go Chris Carson, Gibson, I feel like that's fine. Even if you go McKissick, I think McKissick in this game, if they're going to be playing from behind, I think McKissick's a fine play as well. I think even if you have Gibson and McKissick, especially on DK, I feel like they're going to be
Yep.
decently involved with the full point PPR.
I would agree. McKissick looks more attractive on DK for me because of that full point PPR. But yeah, I'm going to agree with you. And I'll say this: if you're really trying to be different and not have a lineup that anyone else is going to have, you don't want to spend all your salary on this slate. So you're definitely going to want money left over. And the craziest stack I can think of is like Cam Sims, Logan Thomas with, Heineke, like it has to be something that no one else is thinking. Like maybe you go, okay, Tampa, they don't have the best pass defense. Heineke's going to come out and tear it up. Like no one else is thinking that way. So if you're going contrarian, if you're trying to make a shit ton of money on a GPP, you have to be different. So for the most part, I'm giving cash advice, but I need to do a better job letting people know. Like GPP, you want to be different, you want to be weird, go with it. But
that's where you got some of the people playing that money or the million maker. Everybody loves that, the millie. What do you think about Allen Robinson? Allen Robinson, I do like him tomorrow. I think he'll be fine because right now, what are they? 10 points, I think. Yeah, 10-point underdogs. So going based upon like let's think about game script, right? 10 points, they should be throwing the ball a decent amount, and I think that defense. I think New Orleans defense has gotten a lot better, but I just think Allen Robinson's a stud. And in the game that they should be behind, he should be decently involved. So if you are, I guess, real quick, because we only got a little bit of time. So who are a couple of your favorite players? Because we didn't talk about it that much for tomorrow. So like if guys are doing like just a weekend, like who are a couple of your favorite plays for tomorrow?
yeah, real quick, if you're doing the slate that's today and tomorrow, the 6 games, I think you definitely have to look at Big Ben on DK. I think his price is down there, and I think they're going to have to throw the ball a lot against Cleveland. So I think Big Ben is a fine QB play if you're looking for something at quarterback. I think running back Derrick Henry is going to be pretty chalky. I think Alvin Kamara is going to be pretty chalky. If I had to choose between the two, I'm going to go Kamara. I still think Chris Carson and Gibson hold value for today and tomorrow's slate. If you want to take a flyer on someone who's been crushing value, who's been doing really great as of late, I would go David Montgomery, but 6,900, it's a little pricey. Contrarian, maybe Ronald Jones. They're going against a defense that is good against the rush. So if you want to have someone, because I think the running backs tomorrow are more appealing than the ones today. So if you're going contrarian, I don't think Ronald Jones looks bad. But as far as games for tomorrow, I think Corey Davis looks good. I think A.J. Brown looks good. Marquise Brown, I'm fine with. Allen Robinson, like you said, I'm very bullish on him. If you want to have exposure to the Pittsburgh receivers, if you want to go Deontay, Claypool, Juju, I'm cool with all of them. So Deontay, we're going to stick with
way better
Deontay.
tomorrow.
Yes, I would agree.
for DFS purposes.
Absolutely. I think the pricing's better on these players for tomorrow. There's not as many question marks
Higher
like these
scoring
games have.
games.
So exactly. I think if you're going to go Pittsburgh, if you want pieces of Pittsburgh's offense, you're going to go in the passing game. Ebron looks fine. If he's cleared, I think he's going to be good. So Deontay Johnson, Ebron with Big Ben, something along those lines. I'm going to stay clear of James Conner. And I
James,
don't know.
he's gonna have a big game.
James Conner's going to have a huge game.
No, I'll say this. How about David Montgomery? I don't like David Montgomery that much just because, well, I like him more on DK. If you're playing on DK, then DK because he's
Right.
going to have a decent amount of catches. They should be playing from behind. This is like the hardest matchup for running backs against New Orleans. So I don't like him that much, but if you're going to play on DK, he's has some interest just because PPR is going to keep him alive. But definitely, like I would rather pay for obviously like the higher guys and then kind of in like mid-range wide receivers. So like your Corey Davis, I think is going to be a good play tomorrow. I would even go like Deontay. He's not going to be the highest priced wide receiver, but if especially on DK, like a full point PPR, him and Juju, I think are going to be completely fine in that game because I do think Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's going to run the ball a little bit better, but definitely are going to have to throw the ball. But I do have a little bit of interest in James Conner because number one, he's not that like his price tag obviously isn't that expensive just because of how these games have been going because Pittsburgh sucks. No, they don't suck. You can't tell Kyle that he's getting red in the face already. So, but honestly, I just rather play these other games. Even J.K. Dobbins, even Gus Edwards. Like I feel decent about Gus Edwards. That game right now is 54.5, right? So that game is going to be very high scoring, and I think it could go over that, like 54.5. I feel like that's pretty low for what this game has the potential to be. So, real quick, guys, who wins today? I'm gonna go through each game real quick. Kyle, let's start. We'll start with the first game. So Indy Buffalo. Kyle, go.
Prediction? Is that what you said?
Just who do you think's gonna win? You don't have to do score. So
I
we can go
think
through it.
Buffalo's probably gonna win that game.
Buffalo. Rye guy, who do you think's gonna win?
He said Bills.
Bills. Gigs.
I'm going Colts.
Colts, baby. I'm gonna go Bills as well. But I'd like it. It'd be cool if the Colts won. Next game, Rams Seattle. Anybody think Rams gonna pull the upset?
I'm not going to say it.
No, I'm gonna say Seattle. Kyle, you think so?
I think the Rams are gonna win.
Hey,
There we go. We got someone picking them. And then Tampa Bay, Washington. Kyle, who you got?
Tampa.
Rye guy? Gigs?
Tampa.
Ryan
Tampa.
had Seattle, so I don't. He hasn't typed anything for the
I wrote
next
it
one.
all down.
He's
I'm
going
going-
all out on Washington.
All right, so good. So I can pick Tampa Bay. All right, so we at least got one person picking the underdog for each game. So, with that being said, enjoy today. We only have a few more weeks of real football left until a long off season, so enjoy it. This weekend is very exciting. I'm very excited about this weekend. I'm going to be sitting here watching football all day, and I can't wait. Order some chicken wings, some pizza, baby. It's just going to be chowing down. So thank you guys for watching the stream. Let's go out there and let's win some money today. Good luck, people, and have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about some DFS plays. So tune in. See ya. Bye.
Bye.